I think it is working. We are live. I'm very bad with using YouTubes or technology in general. I definitely need to hire an assistant to help me with setting things up. But I have a microphone now, as you can see. Hopefully, I set it up in a way where my voice can be picked up. Hopefully, this voice gets picked up by this microphone. So that we can, let's say, turn down the volume of the mind together. Because sometimes we pick up the voices in our head, whether we turn the volume up or down. It controls the volume tab. So hopefully we can get to a place where we have the remote control, let's say. It's sometimes difficult when other people have the remote control and you want to watch your favorite TV show, right? Well, imagine if you live inside of a mind and the mind has a show and it controls everything that you will watch. That could get very difficult. It could get very frustrating. So we need to figure out a way to get control of the remote control, let's say. So that would be a good start. But the thing is, we really need to regain control of the remote control by letting go of control, if it's safe to say. Because by letting go of control, of the remote control, you regain control of your awareness. So, in other words, by letting go of controlling the constant thoughts, projections within the mind, you start regain control of your life. You start regaining control of your true nature, your true self. So what is the thing that you're letting go of control of? It's life. It's what you think, it's what you are, it's what you want to do, it's what you want to accomplish, your ambitions, your goals, your status, your wealth, your reputation, your everything that you want to control in the physical, that is the loss of control in the inner. The more control we have in the outer, the less control we have in the inner. So let's see who can regain control by controlling. It's impossible. You regain controlling by letting go of the controller. So letting go is a step, a good step. Another step is complete and utter emptiness. When your vessel, which is your body mind, is empty, you allow your body to become a temple. But when it's polluted by thoughts, by images, by needs, by desires, by everything which you think will enhance you as a person, the same thing as handing over control of your mind and being controlled and basically become a program of the outer world. You become reactionary, you become basically a product of whatever is shown to you, which is not a good reference point for your true self. Your true self can never be a reflection of your outer world. You have to hold on to your core, to your presence, and really find your true nature within, constantly observing your emotions, constantly observing your body. And whenever you have an outer desire, you reject it and observe yourself. That's you holding on to your anchor. If you don't have an anchor, if a ship doesn't have an anchor, it floats everywhere. If a wave comes, it will topple. But if it has an anchor, it won't move. At least it has a point where it can return. But you don't have an anchor because the outer world keeps changing on you and you keep grasping to the outer. The outer says this, you go there. The outer says that, you go wherever it takes you. The outer says jump, you say how high. There's no anchor. And it creates tension in the body. It creates a lot of diseases in the future because your body becomes so tense and stores this tension, and this tension attracts more tension, and then one thing leads to another, and then you become a ball of tension. And the more tense you are, the more you attract tension, and then the more tension you attract, the more tense you become, and then you're digging yourself a deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper hole. And that's the way life decides to teach you, is through suffering. So there's no end to suffering. That if you keep your temple, which is your body, clean, and you don't resort to desires, such as greed, such as pride, if those are your doorways to your decision making, then you're bound to have tension in the body. There's no other way. If pride is the decision factor for why you make your decision, you're bound to have tension in the body. There's no other way. You make something, you do something, even if it's a noble thing, like a donation or an act of service. If the gateway is pride, if the doorway is, that's ego. So you just enhance your ego. So you just added more tension by doing a good thing, which is counterintuitive. So does that make sense? Sometimes, of course, situations happen where people might get into a scenario where they make a decision that's out of pride, fear, lust, guilt, anger, And the moment that happens, it's dangerous, because it amplifies and it gathers more things of that nature. And then more scenarios happen from that, and it's like a wild plant, that got nurtured, and then now it's expanding, and then now it's killing your crops. So not the end of the world. Of course, you have to take it out from the roots, but it's something to always try to avoid. And the smaller if this happens to you in your life, or you made a decision out of pride or whatever, or if you made an action that's not compatible with the highest vibrations or energies, then yeah, the seed has been planted, and now it's time for that seed to grow. Unless you take it out from the roots, then it's very hard. At least admit. The first step can always be the admission of the thing to yourself. And these things will always pop up in your awareness as reminders, because everything that you attach to, that's external in nature, these are the things that are, you can say, the sources of thoughts, because thoughts always occur from outer sources: greed, pride. So when you get those, it's an indicator that there's a root problem that needs to be extracted. And you can trace these thoughts to the roots by just observing them. Observing, observing, observing. Don't judge, just watch, watch. Keep watching these thoughts. That's where we always hear watchfulness, how it's very important. Well, watchfulness is meditation. When you're watching yourself have these thoughts, now you've isolated your awareness from these thoughts immediately. Because whatever is watched is not the watcher. So, if you are the watcher and what's watched is the thoughts, you, by definition, are not the thoughts. So, by practicing watchfulness of the thoughts, you are crystallizing the idea that you are isolated from the thoughts. And by doing that and going deeper in watchfulness, you end up with the root of the thoughts. And that's how you extract this thing from your system, let's say, your body-mind system. They might come back as bits and pieces, because the mind is very tricky by trying to lure you back, but by staying aware, staying conscious, prioritizing awareness, awareness, awareness all the time, awareness. This way, you almost guarantee the distance between yourself and these thoughts until you reach a point of no return where you escape the gravity of these thoughts and you become free from their grip. Similar to a rocket wanting to escape the gravitational field of the Earth, it needs a lot of power. It needs a big push. But later on, once it escapes, it needs relaxation only. The more you relax, the better it is. When you have an object like a satellite that's circling the planet Earth, there's not a lot of propulsion anymore. The propulsion only happens in order to escape the gravitational field of planet Earth. Later on, there's no propulsion. It just glides around planets, naturally gliding. And that's kind of how humans should be. At the beginning, there's a lot of tension, a lot of tension, a lot of grip. But when you isolate your awareness from the objects of attention, which girls, money, success, ambition, fear, when you isolate the observer from the observed and focus all of your attention on the observer, that is your fuel to escape the gravity of the mind until you reach a point where that propulsion is no longer needed. So, it's a one-step solution that requires constant refreshing of your awareness. That's the problem. It needs a constant flow of refreshing, 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 refreshing. This talk that I'm talking to you is only a refresher of the things that you already know. But by you listening to this and me explaining it to you, it's a refresher. It's one of the refreshers, you know? But The rest has to happen by your own focus. Because this refresher is only a pointer to what you should do all the time. No one's going to do it for you. Like I said, these roots, when they grow, they attract things that are not useful to you. So it could be other people, it could be situations, it could be thoughts. So the magical trip is the alone trip, the minding your own business solution. You want the guaranteed way of not focusing on things that don't serve you, so and you focus on yourself. So minding your own business is crucial to this. And what I mean by minding your own business is doing the things that concern you only, not paying attention to what others are doing. You can communicate with others for daily needs, groceries, and whatnot, but about what people do, you're not focused on that. Because when you focus on other people's meditation, that's that is a root. That is a wild, unwanted weed planted in your garden that needs to be extracted. If you want others to meditate, if you want them to be, that's bad news. If you're arguing, if you're convincing, because it's a desire. It's an external desire, right? If you want others to improve, you want others to be a certain way, even if it's for the best of them, it's also desire. It's an external desire. It could be pure, that you want the best in the world. It could be pure, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's a desire. It's an egoic desire that you have seen a root in someone else and you want to extract it for them. That could be a desire. So that's also something to be careful from. I don't want to take too long in this live, so hopefully it reached the people who it has meant to be reached, and hopefully we can have another session sometime soon.